Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of I Cast Fireball, an actual play 5e D&D adventure where we go through the campaign Tyranny of Dragons. I'm Thomas, your DM for this adventure, and around the table we have...
Malamara.
Lance Thalen.
And Fleeple.
Well, special shout out to Fleeple and Lance, who took a back seat on our last episode where Mal got to explore a lot of what made her Mal and what brought her to a lot of the decisions she's made. To recap ever so briefly, we explored Mal's clan, and we explored the day-to-days, the ins, the outs, the KFK clan, and what led her down away from the spine of the world. And unbeknownst to Mal, she woke up from that memory in an unfamiliar place called the Arena. Now, Lance and Fleeple, as both of them were sleeping soundly, they, I would say, lost track of Mal as she slipped out in the night. And now they don't know where she is, but the last thing they found out from the innkeeper was that it looked like she was on her way to kill somebody. And that is where we join our adventurers this week. Lance and Fleeple, you have an interesting situation before you. Malamara is gone. There's not many clues currently, except for the innkeeper saying that she was on her what looked like she had murder in her eyes. I would like to hear from both of you how you would like to proceed, and then I will put in my 2 cents or build upon some of these things that you would like to seek out.
Well, trying to find Mal would probably be a good idea.
Yes.
No, I was just going to say, let's move on. She'll catch up.
No, but in finding Mal, there's a lot of avenues that could be taken, especially in a city this big. It can seem a bit overwhelming. Do either of you have an idea of, other than rolling skill challenges, skill checks, I should say, things like that, do you have any creative or unique ideas that you feel could assist in finding Malamara in this wide expanse, in this city, with each other, helping each other out?
We could always start casing the streets, see if we can find people who can lead us in the direction of this dame.
Yeah, I would say, Mal, with us not knowing where Malamara went, Lance, in his knowledge of the city, because he grew up here, he probably knows of maybe some networks, possibly, that traverse the streets, that look for oddities and weird things, and maybe he can try and locate one of those networks that just make sure to keep a pulse on the city, that report to usually kind of the crime bosses and things of just oddities that are happening, and or even the city guard kind of has informants. Maybe Lance has some avenues he can think of to go find one of those networks.
Okay. Fleeple, let's have you join Lance. Lance as a half-orc, I believe, right?
Yes, as a Western half-orc, Western accented half-orc.
Fleeple and Lance, let's have you go together. So, Lance, in your mind, where were you thinking was one of these avenues? I mean, there's a lot of different things that could be possible. You've got your obvious gambling dens, but we kind of saw how that turned out not too long ago at Lottie's place. You've got possible fetch boys and fetch girls on the street that are in the know and can pass information along as well, but
I would say Lance is going to go to them because he knows the pulse of a city usually is in the ones who are always considered the background. And those are usually kind of the kids, the teenagers, the ones who are kind of behind the scenes. Just usually at any marketplace, there's usually some kids who are off to the side, maybe sometimes stealing pocketbooks and, just catching things and keeping eyes out. I would say Lance is inclined to go to a marketplace and maybe seek one of these kids out that he knows prowls the city and are actually connected to a network.
Great. From what I recall about Neverwinter is the northern portion of Neverwinter, especially around the Blue Lake, that's called the Blue Lake District. It was a little bit more peaceful, a little bit more higher up. please forgive me if I'm getting any of this wrong. On the eastern portion, though, just north of the big river, there's also a section called the Tower District, where there's a big monument called the Fallen Tower. This tower is actually floating in the air due to magical and arcane means. In the southern portion, on the east side, as I mentioned previously, the Great Rift was created that went down to the abyss that has then since been patched up, but left a gaping emptiness there. This is where the circus was. And then in the southwestern portion, there's Protector. It's called the Protector of Enclave, I believe. Or Protector's Enclave, apologies. So just from those 4 sections here, where do you think Lance would gravitate towards the most?
And where are we right now?
You are in the Blue Lake District. You wanted somewhere a little bit peaceful, an average tavern, an inn, where you felt like you wouldn't be bothered or get a lot of unsavory looks.
Well, I don't think Mal, just with how Lance, I think, would try and process this, I don't think Mal would go to the uppity rich part. So I don't think she's staying in the Blue Lake or going to the tower. I think she's going to be either in the Protector's Enclave or the Chasm District. What's the Protector's Enclave again? Like, what are some of the main... Oh, wait, I have it. Protector's Enclave number 1. There's government. It's the seat of government. There's temples. There's the harbor.
This is actually where you, on the outskirts of the Protector's Enclave, is where Lottie's place was, on the cliff there, into the rock itself.
I don't know why Mal would go back there. Because we're by ourselves, I'm just going to use my regular voice. I'm not sure where to start looking. I don't think Mal would go anywhere rich or proper. It's not really her scene. She'd feel more awkward there than anything. She's either down south, where the temples are, but she's not very religious. And then there's the southeast portion, and that's kind of where you could find the seedier things of life.
Well, perhaps we can just start with the trail that we've got right here. Do any of these people right here outside the tavern look like the kind of people who might be watching to see who's walking by?
Yeah, that's a good... Is there anyone outside the tavern that would be set up for the night?
Fleepo, go ahead and roll a perception check. Yeah.
Let's say 19.
19. You go outside, and you do see that there is a guard who is on... just a city guard. Who's kind of patrolling the area, just walking around, and you run up to them, and you just ask them, be like, hey, did you see this type of a person? The guard speaks up, oh yeah, they, half-orc lady, a distinguishing character, the big sword. I did remember the big sword. I wanted to stop her, but if I'm quite frank with you, I was a little bit intimidated and frightened with her, and she technically wasn't doing anything illegal. So I did trail her for a little bit, though. He gets a little bit nervous in his eyes. Oh gosh, should I have stopped her? Should I have intervened? She didn't do anything. We don't know if she did anything. I don't think so.
She's fine. She's fine. It's a good thing you didn't, because she's not looking for violence, but if she's confronted, she might have busted you off some.
Okay, all right. Well, I believe she passed over the bridge south to the southern portion, which is outside my area, thankfully. She should be in the southern portion, I believe.
Now, not to worry at all, Sonny. We thank you very much for the help that you've given to us.
You'll let me know if there's anything I need to do to assist you, wouldn't you? Right?
Of course. No assist needed. She's a friend. She just is... She's in a rough patch in her life. She needs friends.
All right. Okay, well, you just let me know if I can help. And he just kind of walks away a little shaken, like, did I do a bad job? Oh, gosh.
And I look up to Lance and I'm like,
He did do a pretty bad job, if I'm being honest.
He was a pretty
he's
poor
a guard.
guard. Yeah, I mean, he should get
Yes.
details down, stop people who are suspicious. Okay, so she's gone south. I say we start at the Protector's Enclave, either seeing if there's other guards on patrol, or I might be able to tap into some seedier networks.
Works for me.
Right.
I kind of imagine Fleeple and Lance here like 2 PIs from the 1940s and trying to suss out this dame with the film noir music in the background.
As we're walking, Fleeple's like doing the like, of all the towns in the world, but he's like saying it out loud. That's when they're walking.
Yes, I pick up a wide-brimmed fedora, like out of the gutters, all ragged and tattered, and put it on top of my head.
As both of you make your way over the bridge, let's just have both of you roll. I'll give you the option to just roll a general perception check, which I believe Fleeple will probably do. Lance, by the way, which skill proficiency did you?
I was going to stay in performance just because
morning?
I'm still in this character of trying to, because even though he knows now that Vandal's not around, he's still wary of his network and his connections and things. So
great. So I will allow a charisma-based perception check if you'd like. So
I would rather have a perception-based perception check. Even with
there we go.
Even
Sounds
with the
good.
increase, I'm not very good with it.
I forget that everybody is not great with charisma here. Like, not terrible, but not great. So let's just have general perception checks from both of you then. To the things that you're keeping out for are obviously key indicators that Mal was there, but also maybe shady people or people from Lance's background. Fleeples, or anything else you'd like to kind of keep a general eye out about?
In terms of like finding shady people, that's definitely much more up Lance's wheelhouse, so I'll give him a flat tire for that. Stuff that I'm on the lookout for. So this is more of the religious kind of district, right? I would like to keep my eye, aside from just like generally scoping things out, see if there's maybe anything demonic in nature here in this religious area that Mal might be drawn toward.
Oh, okay, I like it. So let's go and have your perception rolls then.
It's a 14 for Fleeple.
It's with a flat tire, a 21 for Lance.
Ooh, yeah.
Ooh, there we go. Snaps. So Fleeple, you're like, you are a little bit out of your element here. You're like, trying to find somebody in a big city, like give you a forest where you can turn into a badger mole, and not a badger mole. That's Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Oh my gosh.
If you'll let me, then I will take it.
No, it's like into a badger where you can like kind of sniff things out and like follow a scent. Not super possible here. So you're like, if Mal's gone and she left without reason, it might be safe to assume the worst. So let's look out for this demonic stuff. Let's look out for things that maybe reek of her. And Fleeple, I'll actually have you, with your perception roll, I actually like this better. Why don't you roll a religion, maybe? I think that I like that flavor a little bit better.
Yeah, that gives me a 15.
15? Okay, so one better. And so you're just kind of like feeling it out. Being a new cleric, I mean, it's a little bit of a shift. Not too terribly much in like how you think of Bahamut and you worship him, but in maybe shifting how you think and like what is possible. The power of Bahamut is possible to you. It's in your wheelhouse now. And you almost feel this gentle nudge from Bahamut as you're like, maybe I'll just use my eyes, and like your necklace of Bahamut sort of like jumps, like just like the short, not like, hey there, just like a little bump.
Hey,
it's like a
listen.
little bounce off of your chest, and you're like, duh, okay. And so you grab the necklace and you're starting to see, and although you don't have like x-ray vision when it comes to religious stuff, you are keeping a lookout. You are keeping things, trying to look out for demonic things. Lance, you are looking for these patterns, behavior, people that would denote that they're in the know. You could probably use some sort of like that. They're like, they probably know thieves can't, or they probably know this. They're probably the people to talk to. Both of you go to a big marketplace, and Lance, you're scanning around, and you do pick up on like a few kids that are like seemingly playing, and they like bump into a man, and he's like, hey, watch it. And they're like, oh, sorry, sir. You just follow them for like another minute, and you see that they exchange some coin amongst each other. Like one of them maybe got the purse or part of the purse from that man. And so you're like, okay, they might be a little young though. Is there anybody else that they might be reporting to? And you start to follow them. Fleeple, you're looking around, and although the cheese cart is very enticing, you resist. You go off, and you're like, I'm coming back for you. You go and you try to sniff out elements of Malamara, and you come to this one alleyway. It just feels a little off. It feels weird. You go down this alleyway in particular, and this alleyway is heading east, and you're just feeling your hand against the wall when you feel this strange mark through it, this stone wall. And it looks like a blade could have been cut through here.
I know who has a blade that can cut through stone. Okay.
And it's weird, as you pull your fingers out, there's a little bit of goo. Residue. And you're like, ooh, like blackness. And you flick it off, and you're able to get it off.
I will take this information and report back to Lance with it.
As you go and report back, Lance has separated from you just slightly because you are going to look for somebody a little bit more in the know. Children, they have a general idea, and they do have their uses in the underworld. But you're looking for somebody who can get you to the source quickly. Sure enough, after about 10 minutes of following these kids inconspicuously, one of them runs off into an alleyway where a beggar is sleeping, and as they run by the crate, one of them drops a tiny bag on the floor, and the beggar slowly reaches down, grabs the bag, and puts it in his pocket. And he's got a big, like, brimmed hat, and he pulls the brim over his eyes and continues to, quote-unquote, sleep. At this point, Fleeple, you have caught up with Lance, and you've shared some of this information with Lance about the cut, the inky blackness, how it was in an alleyway going eastward.
Okay. That's good. That's good. So we know she's headed toward the east. I might give us a little bit more of a pinpoint that way. All right. Are you really going to do that accent? I'm barely pulling it off for myself. Are we doing this? Are we committing to this?
I'm into it if you're into it.
I'm not into it, but
I'm also into it, so that's enough for both of us.
All right. All right. Okay. All right. Let's get our story straight. We're from out of town. We're looking for a friend. They got drunk last night. They're looking for a fight. Sound good? Sounds good to me. All right.
And Fleeple, you tip your fedora hat like a 45-degree angle.
An excessively steep-tipped angle.
It just absurd. Like, one of your horns is barely keeping it on.
Mm-hmm. What do I have? The hat of disguise? But that's like changing my appearance, right? I will use my hat of disguise.
Hat of disguise, you can do it at will as many times as you
like. Then I will reluctantly change my hat in my half-orc hat of disguise to be a semblance of a fedora that matches Fleeple's.
Oh, matching fedoras. Here we go.
Here we go. All right. I will approach kind of the beggar person. Actually, you know what? I'm going to have a reason. I'm going to change it up. I'm going to act. I'm going to perform. I'm going to set myself up as a mark for one of these kids.
Ah.
And I'll take maybe a side pocket or purse that I have, and I'll just put like a couple of coins in there. I'll put like 5 gold and like a jewel from Ralph's bag. And I will kind of put it a little bit more obvious looking, like on my hip, very apparent. And I will just kind of like be walking around to some of the different vendors, and every time being like, we're from out of town, you see, and we're just looking to, and like very obvious, like we don't know. Are you trying to shake us down? Like very like, oh, we're so like, we're so oblivious. Like we just love it here. I mean, can you use your accent, your Neverwinter accent? We just love hearing it. Like just like very, very obnoxious tourists. That's what I'm going for. But I'm trying to be keenly aware of my sides because as Lance was one of these kids once upon a time, he is aware of how they move and how they can take. And so he's watching for the subtle signs that he's about to be kind of marked.
Okay. Fleeple going along for the ride as well?
Oh, yeah. I'm just looking around at everything and like, well, shoot, look at that one over there. Maybe we can buy one of those.
Oh, my gosh. That'd be so great for the missus to bring back home. I mean, I went to Neverwinter and survived. Oh, my gosh.
I survived the gaping abyss. The only thing that would make it more racist is asking a half-orc said, "Are you going to attack me?"
Oh my gosh.
Okay. Lance, roll a performance check.
Am I getting flat-tired for this or not?
Indeed you are.
Oh, thank heavens. Because even with my little bonus, it's
Just
not that much of a
Just
bonus.
a smack on the side and say, well, dude, look at that sport.
That's 14.
14. All right. Excellent. Now I'll have you roll a perception check to see if these kids maybe are running by you, if they've considered you to be a mark.
21 for just perception.
Ooh, I got a 16.
16. Okay. They rolled lower than both of those numbers. So,
Hey.
Yeah.
so as both of you are looking at the obvious tourist traps, the vendors with like mugs that are like printed on with this fake illusion that's kind of like just going back and forth, dancing back and
Look, a
forth.
keychain with my name, Chad, on it. It's great.
Lance, you feel a small tug against your waist. And Fleeple, you saw one of the kids go under the booth, but you purposely turned away because you wanted to see what they would do. And as they reached up real quick, the small tug, Fleeple, you saw them reach up and roll out from the booth, away from both of you.
Oh, it's so fortunate you found one that had your name. I can never find one that says Davanaxius on it, being draconic and all that.
Davanaxius!
Yeah, it's an untapped market, I'd say. I will, knowing that I've now been taken, I will wait about 5 minutes, thinking of me watching the rounds these kids make and knowing, okay, they come back to this guy about every so often. I will wait till I'm pretty sure they've gone back and they've handed him the next kind of spoils, and then I will make my way over there with Fleeple.
All right. As both of you go over there, this beggar is still asleep, not having moved a muscle. Still arms folded in the exact same position, hat over their head, a wide-brimmed hat, sleeping on a box.
Lance will... How should I go about this? Lance is going to kind of... Because it's in the alleyway, right? It's in the alleyway a little bit?
It is in the alleyway. It's a little bit of ways, and it's not so far back in the alleyway that nobody will see you. But it is a little bit... It's like... Just thinking feet. It's like 12 feet away from the alley, like from the edge of the alleyway. So where you'd have to like really glance in there to see somebody on a box. If that makes any sense. It's not like 50 feet back in the alleyway.
Oh, baby. I know what to do. This is going to be fun. All right. You ready to have fun, Fleeple?
Let's do it.
Lance will...
Tip the fedora hats even
Lance
further.
kind of, tipping as they lean
Fully
into each
60
other.
degrees.
Yeah. And say to Fleeple, and I'll use Lance's regular voice for this, I'll be like, so, I want us to make sure he doesn't have an escape path. And I want, if you're okay with this, I'll be the front man for what we're asking for, but I don't want him to run down that alley and just escape. So, if you could please, and Lance will reach into a pocket, and Lance will pull out a little bit of dust and go, if you could just please go that way and disappear. And we'll blow it into Fleeple's face, and it is dust of disappearance. And Fleeple is going to be invisible for 2d4 minutes.
Ooh, should I roll that?
Sure, you're the invisible one.
It's going to be 6 minutes.
Woo! That's good.
Oh, there's enough for one use, so it's gone.
Ooh.
But I think this is fun.
Yes. Use it or lose it, baby.
Mm-hmm. As I disappear, I just go,
Like a bat in the night.
and I flap up and fly over the buildings.
Yeah, you fly!
Yeah. I fly up over the buildings to the other end of the alleyway, and then I just pick up a little rock and wave it in the air to indicate that I'm in position.
Oh, that's clutch.
All right. Lance will... okay. Lance is going to kind of walk into the alleyway just partly. And he'll kneel down, because you said the guy's sleeping with a hat over his eyes kind of thing.
It's over his eyes, not completely over his eyes, but it's blocking the sun or the light coming from the marketplace.
Lance will point at him and cast message. And so not speaking to him, but just kind of crouching off a little bit away from him, but still obviously the message is directed toward him. And he's going to say, now I might be from out of town, but I know when I've been marked. And I don't mean to put you in a bad box, but I would appreciate either my pouch back or some information.
Interesting. Okay. I'm gonna roll a percentile dice to see how they react. As you say this, the hat comes off. The man who is quote-unquote sleeping grabs the hat and chucks it in your direction. Not knowing that where you are necessarily, but chucks it at the direction of the alleyway, because the marketplace. That's the most likely place where this voice could be coming from, and starts to book it the other direction towards the invisible Fleeple.
I will shout after him, because hopefully trying to not give up Fleeple's invisibility, I would say, I'd pull in your horns real quick, or else you're going to run into a lick of trouble down there.
Does he continue running?
He does. He does not stop. He is gone in his mind, and he's booking it. So Fleeple, he's coming right at you.
I'm going to point at him and just say, stop, and I'm going to cast command.
All right. So he has to roll a save, yes?
A DC 16 wisdom saving throw.
They rolled a 15.
Ooh, yeah.
-1 on their wisdom, so that's a 14.
Perfect.
And I believe you appear when you cast a spell, right?
That's for usual invisibility, I'm checking. If the creature is affected by the dust, attacks or casts a spell, the invisibility ends. Yep. So it is.
Okay.
Cool. So you cast stop, and you appear right in front of this individual about 10 feet away, and they stop midair, panicked face, looking down at you, and they are incapacitated for 1 round, I believe.
So the way that it works is, well, I guess the specific word is halt that it gives as an example in command. The target doesn't move and takes no actions. A flying creature stays aloft provided it's able to. If it stays aloft, blah, blah, blah.
Okay. So they have stopped magically, and they're halted. They won't be halted forever, but they are halted for a tiny bit here and unable to move. So Lance, you run after as well, and you caught up, and they're halted magically. Both of you, Fleeple on one side, Lance on the other.
I will say, I didn't count you for a 10-cent man who doesn't know what he's doing. We don't want trouble. You accept these words, Thomas.
That fedora probably is a cowboy hat
You
now.
will accept these Western phrases. All right. We don't want trouble. You can even keep the pouch. We just need information. or else we'll be taking that pouch back.
And a little more than
with
that.
it. Yeah.
Oh, you
Like they nod at each other.
Both Lance and Fleeple just kind of have the face where they both go like, oh, yeah. Lovely. Yeah. Oh, that's great. Lance, roll an intimidation check with advantage.
Oh, snap. That's 17.
Okay. Let's have him roll. It's an 8. The magic fades. Looks at both of you. Well, all right now. I know when I've been made. I know when I've had a little bit of an issue. How can I help you two gentlemen here today?
And as he's kind of stammering, I pull out just like a little piece of paper that I've rolled up to look like a cigarette, and I cast Produce Flame, like a really large flame in my hand, and I kind of light the end of it just for the show and say, well, I think my friend here has some words he wants to say to you, and, you just pay attention to him, because I'll be paying attention to you.
All right, this intimidation is maintained by Fleeple assisting Lance here. He goes, all right. Oh, yes, of course. How can I help you, sir? Are you wanting some information, you said?
Thank you kindly. Yes, we are desiring to find a friend of ours. We're from out of town. Obviously, why we were marked by your associates.
It wasn't hard to overhear your conversation with most of the merchants.
No.
Of you being out of town. Welcome to Neverwinter, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you kindly. What I will say is, again, we don't mind. We appreciate a man of enterprise such as yourself. All we need is to find a friend of ours who went missing last night. And knowing that you are a man of connections and have a network of your own, we were thinking you were the man that might be able to lead us in the right direction.
Oh, missing person, you say? Well, I actually do sleep some of the time, so not sure I can help you 100% guarantee that I can help you, but he looks over at Fleeple, who is just producing this massive flame again. But I'll see what I can do, of course. If it's not me, could be somebody else I know. Who are you looking for?
This person will be fairly obvious. Middle of the night, last night, walking through the streets, big old sword, like obnoxiously big sword, like almost like I'm compensating for a emotional breakdown of my past kind of thing.
You ever play Final Fantasy VII, that kind of big sword?
Yes, that's a very good reference. Very good reference.
It's either a Final Fantasy VII or a Bleach reference there. Mickey's face was priceless during that. A big sword. What kind of character are we talking about?
Half-orc, such as myself. Lady.
All right.
Lady friend.
Lady half-orc?
Looking like she wants to get into some trouble.
All right, get in some trouble.
Not something you'd see on a typical Neverwinter night. Headed east.
You know what? I believe. Yes, headed east. Yes. Well, that's where she was escorted. That's for sure. Rather, I heard and saw the aftermath of her coming through here, and let me tell you, I was glad I was not on shift. There was quite a few bodies to clean up. That it wasn't pleasant.
So she killed someone?
I wasn't here. I didn't see it. I just am glad I wasn't here to see it.
How much lambasting are we talking here?
Well, it took. They had to work pretty quick to clean it up before the market. I'll say that. It wasn't completely done, and some of the market vendors left as a result of it this morning.
Okay. Who took her?
It's pretty cleaned up. That's where it gets a little tricky. It's a little bit difficult. I know that they took her somewhere. It's just a matter of who took her to the... look, I answered your question, didn't I? Yes, I saw her. She was taken east. I wasn't here to see the whole event.
We need a whole answer. We need everything in apple pie order here, okay? Straight up, straight to order. We need it all. Again, if you don't want to accommodate us, then we will gladly take what we want back.
You know, now that I think of it, there were a few guards that were taking her, but one guard in particular butted in and grabbed her, and I happen to know for a fact that he's a plant and double agent, so I can't guarantee she's in the prison system. I can only assume maybe somebody saw her talents and thought she'd be useful somewhere else.
Would Lance know this network, this kind
Roll
of...
a history
this
check.
kind of, yeah, would Lance know this subterfuge that's going on?
Yes, and Fleeple, how are you maintaining the intimidation here?
I have the ball of flame, and I'm kind of tossing it back and forth between my hands, and occasionally I'll find a little leaf on the ground and just throw the flame over at that and watch it go up, and then kind of chuckle and create another flame.
Yeah, love it. So actively playing with fire around this individual, maybe tossing it over his head before dispelling it and letting it singe just above his head.
Mm-hmm.
I rolled a 12 for history.
Corruption is obviously the name of the game. It's part of pretty much every government that you've come across and studied. When Vandal was here, he definitely had people that were plants or had paid off guards to assist him in illegal activities to turn a blind eye. So having somebody step in, it absolutely seems like, okay, somebody probably took Mal somewhere else, but where that place is, it's not immediately clear to you where somebody from the underbelly or paid off by the underbelly would actually have taken her.
I'll just ask him straight up, do you have any idea where she could have been taken to? You said someone was judging her for her talents, and the talents you've described.
That's just if I were a betting man, and if I were in that situation, which I wasn't. I was not in that situation. I had nothing to do with that situation. Now, if you'll excuse me, I believe I have answered your questions, and
You're right.
I would like to go. I would like to leave.
I don't want to yarn the hours away here. Just one more quick thing. Who's the plant, and where can I find them? If you tell me that, you'll be a man of the first water, and you can head on out of here.
The name is Negro, and they're part of the City Watch, but you can find them probably pretty close to getting off shift. But they patrol not too far from here, normally in the off hours into the midday here. So you could probably catch them there. You just have to find them. Like I said, in this district, though, not too far off, just probably a few streets that way.
This gentleman has been so kind. Wouldn't you agree? And I'll just look at Fleeple.
I will puff out the flame that's in my hand, and with that same claw, just kind of pat him on the knee. He's been so incredibly helpful, hasn't he?
He has.
Oh, still a little out there. Yes, thank you. I'll just take my leave. He's actively skirting around both of you to the other side of the alleyway. Very quickly, I'll just take my leave. I appreciate it. Enjoy your time in Neverwinter.
Thank you kindly.
And he's gone.
Now, he talked about this area being a couple streets down. Does that by any chance happen to coincide with the alleyway where I found that score in the wall?
Yeah, so that direction, that score in the wall is definitely in the direction that he pointed at. It wouldn't be that alleyway specifically, because that's just in the marketplace here. But a couple streets that way, it'd be reasonable that maybe this guard could have stumbled upon it at some point in his watch, maybe called over to assist, things like that. So absolutely, it's in that direction, though.
Okay.
All right. How do you want to play this guard? Can't play it the same way, I feel.
That is a good question.
I don't think we can do the same method of extracting information. If he's a plant, then he's doing it because he's not making enough money as the city guard. City guards don't make anything. It's pitiful. We should really up the funding toward our protection here. So we could either pay him off because he's already looking for pay, or I don't know. You're really good at talking to the police. You're really good at it. I'm really bad at it.
The only other thing I was going to suggest was just like busting our way in, but maybe a bribe would be a handy way of doing things. Let me take a look at my purse real quick.
I mean, I've got these gems from Ralph. I should tell you that. I stole some gems from Ralph. Well, didn't steal. He amicably gave them through threat of death.
Yes, he deserved it.
Yes, he did. Obviously, he was a man. All right. Yeah, he was, I hope I never see him again. So I have these gems. We have money. We have a party fund. Luckily, we did not put Malamara in charge of the bag. I have personal funds.
Yeah, that would have been bad.
Really bad. Thank you, geeky man in the corner. I'm going to take a back seat. Please, the cops make me nervous a little bit, especially with my history here. So, would you mind taking the lead on this one?
I believe so. Can you hand me some of those gems?
Yes, I will open up the bag. And again, it was just described as a small bag of 30 jewels. And I'm going to avoid some of the bigger ones because I know those could be possible spell components for some of our spellcasters. But I will take maybe a handful of the smaller gems, just an assortment of them. Probably let's say I've given away one in that bag to the thief. Let's say 9. We'll do 9 little smaller gems.
Great. And without issue, walking those 2 streets away, you find a guard who is fairly lackadaisical, just kind of looking around. It seemed to have found a wall that it's perching against, and big old yawn and rubbing his eyes a little bit. He's been on watch for quite a while. Probably Negril.
Yes, I will just walk up boldly, and when I get within earshot, I'll just say, "Oh, your shift's up."
Oh, I'm sorry?
Yeah, I'm here to replace you. And then I'll have the 9 gemstones in my hand and reach out to give him a handshake.
Oh, my God.
What? Oh. Yeah, I believe my shift is over, isn't it? Yes. Well, take care. And he sort of gives you a little bit of a quizzical look, but sort of cocks his head and nods at you with the... He was like, oh, all right, yeah, so take care.
Yes, and you as well. And I just want to make sure that my friend here is okay with this changing of the guard and all that.
And looks up to the half-orc.
I'm so confused as what Fleeble's doing. Yeah. Yeah. We just appreciate the good service. We're visitors to Neverwinter. we're visitors to Neverwinter. We just appreciate all that you do, in, protecting us, making sure that we're feeling welcome.
Hey, look, my shift's over. Okay, I gotta get going. And he sort of nods knowingly.
Yeah, and I reach into my bag and I pull out another 10 gold pieces and I say, "Oh, my friend might be able, I think my friend, being new to town and all that, would just love to have some information about this city if you'd be willing to share that with us before we head out."
Instantly palms the coins. I could tell you a little bit about this area, of course. Things to look out, things to be aware of, and make sure that this area is well protected, of course. Yes. What in particular, anything in particular you think you should be aware of?
We're looking for... Oh boy, Fleeple, what are you doing to me? We're
Ned apparently has missed something pretty big along the way.
Yeah, we're looking for a place where where people can get their energy out. We've heard that there's been some recent activity where there's been, some exchanging of steel and words and a little bit on the violent side of things. And we're just looking for places where we can have some...
Are you referring to the marketplace incident last night, right? Yeah. Oh, terrible business there. The sword went clean through the rock there. I mean, I've never seen a weapon like that. It's important for us to make sure that we can keep the streets safe of that. So for those types of individuals, leans in, sort of like looking from side to side, there's a place that we can take them to get this energy out.
Yeah, you want to uncork the Bronco, as you will.
Oh my gosh. He's just, sure. You want to make sure that they don't cause havoc to, a petty thief. Somebody of that violent character, violent nature, needs to be somewhere else where they could be rehabilitated, where their talents and skills are not going to put any innocent people in danger.
Of course, and others.
Yes. We understand each other, right?
Sure.
Yes? This particular place, it's off the path, if you will. It's off the beaten path. It's if you follow, and he gives you very specific instructions. Go half a mile over here. There's a building with this symbol on it. There's it's very specific to the T. Where Fleeple, that piece of paper, you get a quill and you just start jotting it down a little bit, and with instructions and he goes, and then you knock, but then you scrape your fingernails across it, and then you knock twice afterwards, and basically secret instructions to go to this location where an individual like Malamara might have been taken. You go there, you follow the instructions to a T. Scrape the claws, nails across, double knock, the door opens. There's a big burly man standing in there.
Spectating or participating?
Ned, roll a fate die.
All right. We'll say plus is participating, minus is spectating, and neutral is one of us will do each.
Sure.
That is a minus.
So we're spectating?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Okay. That's good. It's said with such regret.
A little. You throw the wild card in there, but we let fate decide. It's fun to throw that in there.
Yes. So he just nods to you.
Spectators over here. 20 gold cover charge per person.
Is it any cheaper if you're participating?
Yeah, it's free.
Look up at Lance.
We don't know what we're participating in. If you would like to, I am totally fine spending the money. I mean, crap.
This man is just staring at both of you, waiting.
Well,
Let's play it safe this time around. I got 20 gold I can blow. I mean, I have a lot more gold than I realized I did before we started recording tonight.
If we start spectating, but then want to participate, can we get in on the action?
you can talk to one of the quartermasters in the spectator booths.
Booyah, thanks for all your help. We'll go spectate.
Finger guns and walk away. As both of you go, you follow these stairs that descend into the earth. A bit of a ways. It gets a little bit chilly. Every once in a while, there's a torch. Every once in a while, there's somebody walking back up. And some of the people that you see walking out, some of them are very common, very simple, but some of them are very lavishly dressed. Like women are hanging on to men's arms, tittering with laughter. Like, just laughing at them. Some of them are very well put together. Some of them are very saucy looking, shall we say. And as you are walking, you just hear this noise start to like echo down the hallway until you hear it just around the corner. As you turn the corner, you see before you a Colosseum type area. Not as large as the actual Colosseum, but there are stone seats, steps etched into the earth here, and at the bottom is a gigantic circle. In this particular instance, there are two individuals fighting each other, just battering at each other. One person is coming at, there's an elf with two short swords, spinning them like a pinwheel, coming at this individual in a robe who, with every sword that batters against them, arcane magic shatters the air and is buffing these swords off. And then there's a bit of ice that gets created before it's thrust towards the elf, who dodges out of the way. And you glance around and you see these people cheering, yelling. You see off to the side money being exchanged. You see food being brought to some of the more wealthy patrons who seem to be higher up in separate seating. But there seems to be this arcane barrier protecting the arena itself down below. And this seems to be a fighting pit arena. And as both of you are standing, taking stock of like what is going on here and what is the fight below finishes with the sorcerer getting cut across the chest and falling to the ground. And then attendants run out, grab this sorcerer, and rush them off as the elf raises both short swords into the sky before walking out. You have a moment to catch your breath before you hear this magical loudspeaker.
Thank you, everybody, for coming. Thank you. That was a magnificent bout. But we are not done yet. For their fourth battle this day, we have a new fan favorite, one to contend possibly the champion themselves. Only time will tell. Please, everybody, welcome to the arena, the Devil!
And you see coming out of a gate rises, a portcullis rises from below, and almost thrust onto the arena floor is a very confused, disheveled, and awestruck Malamara getting pushed onto the arena floor.
Oh no, Malamara.
And that is where we're going to end this week's episode of I Cast Fireball.
Well, I was expecting Asmodeus. Oh boy.
See, we thought this was going to be a buddy cop episode where at the end they'd be like, that's Fleeple and Lance, but that's Malamara.
Oh dang. Oh man, that guy that I bribed, I thought that he was guarding the place that we were trying to get to.
I was so confused.
Oh,
what was happening?
I see.
I was like, wait, we're telling him to leave without any information?
I was like, yeah,
I see.
This place he's guarding, that's where we're going, right? Oh boy.
Yeah, no, you just sweetened the pot. That's you did it beautifully. You sweetened the pot. You got his tongue,
Well, that's
loose,
why.
you
That's
know?
why
It was
you were
wonderful.
like, well, and my friend here, he might have questions. I'm like, I have all the questions. We don't know anything. Oh my god.
Oh boy. Well, at least we aren't out too much because we stole all those gems from Josh
That's
anyway.
true. We're not really.
There
We're not
you
really
go.
out. Well, we're out gold because we have spent 20 gold each.
Oh, but we'll see if we can recoup that in whatever way or means necessary in the arena here. But we'll find out next time on iCast Fireball. Players, thank you so much. Ned, Jacob, Malamara. Not Mal, you're not a player, you're a character. Mickey.
I'm just a character to you.
Thank you so much tonight, and listeners, thank you for joining us. As you can see, we have some exciting stuff coming up in the next few episodes here with Mal, possibly Fleeple, and Lance. Leaving it up to fate, though. They're currently spectating. We'll have to see how that all shakes down. If you like what we're doing, please leave us a 5-star review on the podcatcher of your choice. It lets us know you like what we're doing, and it gets us into other people's feeds so that they can join in on this wonderful adventure that all my players are putting together. So thank you so much. If you want to leave something a little bit longer than a 5-star review, go and shoot us an email, icastfireball2020@gmail.com. We've had some listeners shoot us homebrew magic items that I am thinking and hoping to implement in some future episodes. Some possible skill challenge or suggestions as well for not only upcoming episodes, but for elements into our episodes. So yes, we read everything and I take everything into consideration as well. So go ahead and shoot your suggestions on over there. If you want to support us in a little bit in a different way, we also have a Ko-fi account that you can go through, you can go to in the description below, and you can donate there if you feel so inclined. But as always, we have our social media platforms. We have Twitter, we've got Facebook, we've got Instagram at iCastFireball20, and we are releasing our episodes on YouTube as well. Our audio-only podcast will be available there for any of your friends that might be strictly YouTube listeners. They can go join us there. And I will also say, keep an eye on the YouTube channel as well for possible surprises to come. So I mentioned this last time. Some of iCast Fireball will be at SaltCon 2023. That's going to be March 2nd to March 5th. If you want to see me, Jake, possibly Ned, possibly Mickey at SaltCon, or run a D&D game with us, I will be DMing there for Adventure League adventures. Chase us down, say hello, and let's chat. It'd be fun to meet you guys there. So don't want to forget our sister podcast, of course, Improv Tabletop, where they are finishing a beautifully written, a beautifully done Avatar Legends campaign. It's wonderful. Ned is the keeper over there. Give them a 5-star review, and don't forget to listen to them and all of their other stuff that they've got going on. Lastly, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with your friends and fellow wacky adventurers. But until next time, I'm Thomas, your DM, and around the table we have
Malamara.
Lance Thalen.
And Fleeple.
Let's keep that fire going, everybody, and we'll see you all next time.